Eddie Izzard and Carol Vorderman hang loose with the Shooting Stars team over on BBC Two shortly. Here on BBC One, the 9 o'clock news with Peter Sissons.
Russia's politicians squabble over who'll run the country as the economy collapses around them. Panic buying strips supermarket shelves as Parliament again rejects Yeltsin's choice of Prime Minister. Shareholders score as Murdoch bids for Manchester United, but the fans are not over the moon. And the new battle in the air as Europe takes on the might of the American plane makers. Good evening. Boris Yeltsin's choice as Prime Minister was again turned down by Russia's parliament today and immediately accused the factions there of being more interested in political bargaining than tackling the economic crisis. As supermarket shelves emptied, prices shot up and the ruble crashed further, Viktor Chernomyrdin warned that the crisis was gathering momentum with what he called catastrophic speed, and it was no time to settle old scores. It was the second time he'd been rejected. Once more, and there'll have to be new elections.
Portrait of a man in serious trouble. Even while the vote on his future was being taken, Viktor Chernomyrdin must have known it would go badly for him. The debate had been intense and sometimes theatrical. Maybe it didn't do Mr. Chernomyrdin much good to have had the ultranationalist Vladimir Zhirinovsky wading in to support him. Today's victory was won by a strange coalition of expediency, the communists and the liberals. As the debate broke up, the communist leader, Gennady Zyuganov, hyped up the whole issue to historic proportions. Yeltsin and Chernomyrdin, he said, are as hated as the Tsar on the eve of the 1917 revolution. The communists are already the biggest party in the State Duma, and Mr. Zyuganov is using the whole Chernomyrdin episode with great skill. But the communists have been joined in their anti-Chernomyrdin campaign by one of the most moderate figures in Russian politics. GREGORY YAVLINSKY is the leader of Yabloko, liberal, middle-of-the-road, pro-reform. The party members object to Chernomyrdin on the grounds that he can't deliver what Russia needs.
My reasons is to oppose crony capitalism in Russia. I think that the main failure and the main difficulties Russia have because we have a very close relations between power and money.
Is there anything the West can do effectively in this crisis?
I think that at the moment West have to relax, simply to relax, because Russia has to solve its own problems at the moment.
The outside world is really worried that Russia is going to go back to some kind of state control, of communism, of something. Do you share those fears?
Communism finished. That's what we see today, is the end of the communism. This convulsions, this pain, this political turmoil is the end of the end.
That may well turn out to be true in historical terms, but it doesn't mean much in the empty supermarkets, now stripped bare by people's fears of shortages. In the old days, says Raisa Mihailovna, I could get as much food as I wanted. Now there's nothing at all. I could go home and hang myself. That's the practical effect of the total political vacuum that now exists here. If the crisis over Mr. Chernomyrdin's job continues, so will the political vacuum, and so will the economic problems. It's as stark as that. John Simpson, BBC News, Moscow.
Here, the Trade and Industry Secretary, Peter Mandelson, has said the Office of Fair Trading will investigate very searchingly any bid by Rupert Murdoch's Sky B to take over Manchester United. Mr. Murdoch is said to be ready to pay more than £500 million for United, and both sides have confirmed that talks are underway. The speculation about an offer led to a sharp rise in the price of the club's shares.
On behalf of Manchester United, the FA Carling Premiership Trophy, Success and Manchester United have gone hand in hand for decades. The team's easily Britain's richest football club. On the stock market today, its share price rose 30%, but the deal's not certain to go through. The Office of Fair Trading is considering it, and the Trade Secretary could decide to refer it to the Monopolies and Mergers Commission.
The bid is yet to be made, and if and when it is, the Office of Fair Trading will look at it very searchingly and consult widely, and the Director General will present me with a report, and you can be assured that any appropriate action that I need to take, I will.
Sky cameras were at Old Trafford today for the cricket match between Lancashire and Hampshire. Sky's poured millions into sport of all kinds, especially football, and become one of the world's most profitable television companies in the process. Rupert Murdoch, who controls Sky, has spent huge sums buying the rights to televise sport, knowing viewers will spend heavily to watch. Now he's buying teams as well. Under the deal, Sky would take control of the jewel in the crown of English football, with profits before tax of £27 million last year. It would also become the owner of the lucrative rights to televise Man U games, and it will get a seat at the Premier League top table, where future league television deals are discussed. Next month, Sky launches a new 150-channel service.
I've seen the future.
Sports rights could become still more valuable once this digital television revolution begins. 2 years ago, Premier League chairman met to strike a new deal with Sky worth £600 million. That runs out in the year 2000. Manchester United, so popular it could more than double the £12 million it makes from television if it did its own deal with a TV company independent of the league. The head of sport at Channel 4, who next week joins the BBC, says Sky and Rupert Murdoch can't lose from the deal.
Sky are buying an insurance policy against what might happen in the future in television sports rights. The league deal might be ruled not fair by the Office of Fair Trading, and so the individual clubs might end up selling their rights individually. The European League might come along.
Sources close to Sky say Rupert Murdoch's not personally involved in the negotiations with Manchester United and insists Sky has no desire to see individual clubs doing their own television deals, perhaps because that could mean Sky and its subscribers having to pay more. But like any deal involving one of Rupert Murdoch's companies, this one's already proving controversial, and given Mr Murdoch's links with Labour and Tony Blair, politically sensitive. Nick Hyam, BBC News at Sky headquarters.
Many of Manchester United's fans have declared their hostility to the prospect of Rupert Murdoch's involvement with the team. They're convinced it would take the club away from its roots. Our sports correspondent Neil Bennett reports from Manchester on the supporters' fears.
Sir Matt Busby, one of the creators of the United legend, looks down permanently on Old Trafford, which has become a place of pilgrimage for fans from around the world. Lifelong supporters Andy Chowdhury and Jimmy Cooper and their sons were there today visiting the Old Trafford Museum.